If you're trying to develop a high-level slice backhand, this video should help a lot, because I'm going to be explaining what I consider to be the most important thing, or at least the very first thing that you need to master if you want to develop a high-level slice backhand. Now, I'm naturally a right-handed player, but unfortunately I injured myself in a mountain bike crash, and I'm now relearning to play left-handed, and I've got to the point where I've developed a pretty good slice backhand using this process. So I want to show you what it is, and hopefully it'll help you out too. If it does, it'd be awesome if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it's so much appreciated if you could do that as well. I think for some reason, when people think about the slice, they tend to think about it differently to all of the other shots. People seem to kind of understand the importance, say with the forehand, okay, of setting up in the right position, of being low, of getting a good unit turn, because they know they've got to use their kinetic chain, and then I'm going to be trying to transfer my weight forwards through the ball to create racket head speed and power. So people understand that with topspin shots, but I don't think people think about that in the same way with the slice. People are a little bit more defensive in the mindset. But my slice was definitely one of my weapons with my right hand, probably my best shot, and it's trending that way with my left hand. And I'm very aggressive with my mindset and the way that I think about it. It's still all about efficient utilization of the kinetic chain. So it is about getting a good rotation. You're going to be driving through the back hip. So if I demonstrate as a right-hander, I'm driving through the back hip to initiate the swing. After I fire through that hip, then the torso kicks in, and then the arm kicks in. So it's the same as the other shots. It's the full kinetic chain that gives you the racket head speed and the quality. So in order to do that, the preparation is key, just like every other shot. So I spent quite a lot of time working on the preparation, and specifically the unit term with my slice backhand. So it's always done landing from the split step. So visually, I'm trying to land my split step just after my opponent makes contact, and as soon as my feet meet the ground, I'm basically going into my unit turn from there. So maybe I'm moving forwards to a shorter ball, it's in there, but I've got to get the pelvis around because I'm driving through that back hip. I've got to get the torso around, and I like to really exaggerate it, try and get it past 90 degrees. So 90 degrees is going to be a good start, but to really get an effective slice, I like to rotate further. So it's going to depend on your flexibility. It's also going to depend on your timing, but I like to go much further. And I also like to get a forwards lean. I'm not being up here, I'm being there over the ball, chopping down through it, trying to be as aggressive as I can. So I think the big thing for a lot of people to work on is to spend a lot of time practicing different variations of the preparation and unit turn. So that's what I want to do now. So when you're working on something like your unit turn along with your footwork, it really is something that you need to practice without the ball first. Where this goes wrong, why so many players don't have a good quality unit turn and preparation on all their shots, but here we're talking about the slice, is because they don't practice it. They just go out and they hit balls, and they think that they can do it while they're hitting the balls. And it doesn't really work out that way, because when the ball's coming at you, there's a lot of stuff to think about. So you have to dedicate time to programming in specific footwork patterns. So like I've just said, for me, it starts landing from the split step. So that's the way I do it. And maybe I'm going to go for a short one first, but I'll think about landing from the split step and then going straight into that unit turn. And it's just a case of repping it out. So what does it feel like to do that? Or maybe I'm going to go slightly further forward, so I'll add in a shuffle step. But each time I do this, I'm just thinking about the quality of this movement. So I'm landing, and as soon as my feet hit the ground, it starts that motion, and then I'm in there and I'm ready to hit the shot. And it'd be the same thing if I'm setting up for a wider ball. It's just lots of repetitions. But as soon as my feet contact the ground from the split step, and there's different footwork patterns that you can use. Here I'm using a drop step to try and cover a decent bit of ground, but just practicing it over and over again. Every time I do that, I'm trying to get that full rotation as much as I can. I can practice the same thing moving back to a deeper ball, and then I've got different options. So obviously sometimes you're going to be stepping across, So now I've got the initial movement and then a stutter. And you just play around with it, have fun with it, see it almost like a little bit of a dance. It should be flowing, but and especially after doing that, when I go into practice, I'm just thinking about the contact, and I just try and make the ball recognition one flowing thing with the unit term. And by doing that over and over again, it removes that from the equation. So you master it, you become awesome at preparing and getting this unit turn, and then the problem's solved. Then you can work on the next thing, which is going to be the timing of the swing and manipulating the swing path and watching the ball through to contact. But that has to come off the back of mastering the unit term and preparation. So if you don't have a high level slice at the moment, this is something I highly recommend that you work on. Now, in addition to this, one of the big things that holds most players back and prevents them from developing a high quality slice or any other shot is they can't read where the ball is going quickly enough, and that really creates difficulties for the preparation. The reason players can't read where the ball's going is because their visual systems don't work well enough. To help you with that side of things, because you can actually train and improve your visual system, I've created a free tennis vision starter program. I'll place a link to the free program up there and a link to the free program down in the description so you can start working on it, and it's really going to make a big difference and help you become a better player. But hopefully what I've talked about in terms of mastering this unit term makes sense. You have to get lots of repetitions in. It's a case of thousands rather than tens or hundreds. So to go from not doing something in a certain way, if you want to develop this high quality unit term, to get through the first phase of learning, that's around 1,000 repetitions. To get to the automated process where you're just out there on court and it just happens automatically, that's 10,000-ish repetitions. So it won't be an overnight fix, but if you want to develop a high level slice, you've got to get the preparation first. Okay, hopefully that makes sense and it's been helpful. Any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section. I love to hear your feedback and thoughts. Otherwise, I will catch you next time.